For cheap D2R items, visit aoeah.com. You get 3% off with the code ARIAD. Check the link in the description. Hello and welcome everybody. Today I've got another really cool build for you, the Stormy Hurricane Werewolf. Similar to the Frostadine, it is not a meta build and it's a bit pricey as well, but it's definitely fun to play and performs pretty well. We focus on the Hurricane here and use melee wolf attacks secondarily. Next days there will be another build who does the other way around. Let's get started. For the stat points we can basically stick to the standard distribution. Strength and dex for the equipment, rest and vitality. In the skill tree it looks like this. Hurricane and all three synergies are maximized. The Cyclone armor is skilled up last, it only makes the Hurricane last longer. In the summon tree, the Grizzly is unlocked with 1 point, which means that you also have the Oak Sage. In the shape-shifting tree, Fury and Lycanthropy are unlocked, the remaining points can be distributed as desired, e.g. in Lycanthropy and Werewolf. Feral Rage or Fury would also be possible, we will use these two attacks. All in all, the skill tree looks like this. Alternatively, you could put only 1 point into Cyclone armor to have more points to spend in the shapeshifting skills, but then you will have to recast the Hurricane much more often. Here you can see the relevant breakpoints. Now for the equipment. We play a Berserker Axe with the runeword Doom. Thereby we reduce monsters' cold resistance by up to -60%. We also have Holy Frost aura on it, a nice bonus to the Hurricane. The helmet is Nightwing's Veil, looks a bit unusual on the Druid, but in wolf form you don't see it anymore. It also has the rainbow facet socketed into it. Talking about facets, it's best to have 9 of them to fill up the armor and the shield too. As a base for the body armor, a blue one with 24% faster hit recovery is fantastic and the shield is a J-mod here. But of course you can also use simple grey bases and the facets don't have to be perfect. Since we need some more attack speed for the Berserker Axe, we take High Lords or a Cat's Eye in the amulet slot. High Lords is great because of +1 to all skills, Deadly Strike and Lightning Resistance. Cat's Eye on the other hand increases our running speed, which is also not to be despised, because we won't teleport with this build. Unfortunately, that doesn't work in wolf form. On the gloves we also need 20% attack speed, together with 20 from the amulet and 45 on the weapon, we are already at 85%. Nice if the gloves also have mana leech and resists, crafted ones can also have crushing blow. At the 5 frames IAS breakpoint we do 5 attacks per second with Feral Rage, so we need 95% IAS. Fury also has a breakpoint there, it's the second fastest. The last 10% can be taken from Nosferatu's Coil. If you absolutely want to play another belt, you could also place a jewel with attack speed in the equipment instead, for example in the helmet. Because we hardly have resistances so far, nice yellow shoes can be helpful here. We also take a Ravenfrost and a Bulkatos. In the second slot you could play CTA and Spirit by default, but since you have quite a lot of life points when in wolf form, you could also put on some boss killer weapon with crushing blow in the second slot instead, like Death, or maybe a Grief because of its damage. In addition a Storm Shield for some physical resistances. Besides any Torch and Thunder Charm, our inventory will need skillers, ideally with life. A bit faster hit recovery can't hurt either. The breakpoints in wolf form you should remember are at 42 and 86. Compared to other classes, the hit recovery of the wolf is extremely fast. Apart from that, you can do your best to improve your resistances, but you can also get by without maximum resists. If you get into any problems, you could also reduce the attack speed a bit and just wear a Maras. I don't have a mercenary here, but in principle you just could take a random Infimerc for even more cold pierce. Now also some cheap gear you could maybe make use of. Voice of Reason has minus 24% cold resists and costs almost nothing, but the weapon damage is really low. Then there are a Spirit Shield, Jalal's Mane, Aldur's body armor and boots, String of Ears and Leather Gout. Some cheaper facets could be socketed too. Basically, you also could use the complete Aldur set. Here you have up to 6 free sockets. Also an option here, Arcane's Veiler, just because why not? It's a classic. A Storm Shield in the first slot can be a legit choice too if you need more physical damage reduce, for example when fighting exploding dolls. The gameplay is pretty simple once you have completed all the precasts. War Cries if you play with CTA, transforming into Wolf, Cyclone Armor, Grizzly, Oak Sage and Hurricane. Apart from War Cries, we can do all precasts in Wolf form. As mentioned at the beginning, we use the attacks Fury and Feral Rage in close combat, but the Hurricane does most of the damage anyway. I got over 3,500 damage on it here, but with worse equipment you can get over 2,000 too, which should be enough for farming alone. With the high-end equipment, players 4 to 5 is still very doable, at 6 to 8 players it gets tough. In any case, it's very nice that the monsters are slowed down a lot. Overall, the build has an unmistakable resemblance to the Frostadine. It also would be possible to transform into a bear instead of the werewolf, and if you want to spend more skill points in the shapeshifting tree, you could reduce the duration of the Hurricane by omitting the Cyclone armor. Then you have to recast the Hurricane more often. There are many possibilities for individual customization, which is always the beauty of Diablo. You can still watch the gameplay clips to the end. I say goodbye at this point, take care and may the loot be with you.
Come on. Follow me.